Hey guys, Grace and Beck here, and today we're going to talk about cost of lessons and what exactly are you all paying for in these lessons and why the pricing is what it is, and a little bit of why it might be so varied in an area.
Yeah, and especially when you're using a lesson horse.
Yeah.
Because, yes. So for us, I know a lot of people call and they either want to know what the training is, what they're going to learn, and also what the price of the lesson is going to be. So we thought that it would be important for you guys to know where that money goes. I've had people kind of look at me before and think, oh, she must be rolling in the dough, right? Because she is, bringing in $100 an hour. But I thought we'd really kind of dissect where that $100 go, because a lot of people that are using lesson horses have never owned a horse. Mm-hmm. So they don't understand the true cost of owning a horse.
Yeah. So we'll start with some of the factors that go into determining cost and rates for lessons. And some of these factors can go into, well, we're talking more about your facilities with the school horses. Some of these factors will apply to those that have their own horse and are training with somebody who are taking lessons on their own horse. Mm-hmm. So one of the main factors is cost of feed.
Yeah.
And especially school horses, because a lot of times when properly taken care of and in a good facility, a good school program, they're not getting just their hay or, in our case, the cubes. They get grain. They get whatever medications they need. They get extra supplements to keep them healthy and going for their lessons. That's why one of our old guys that is still going in lessons at 32.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as horses age...
And he's not ready to retire yet. He's very clear about that. It's not that we're pushing him or anything. He's like, no, let me out.
Mm-hmm. And as horses age, their needs increase. And most of the time when you are taking a lesson, you are taking, as on a lesson horse, you are generally taking a lesson on an older horse. Because those older horses have more experience, they're calmer, they're gentler, they can teach you. But that also means that they are costing the facility and the trainer generally more if they're paying or taking really good care of them. Mm-hmm. And so you have, for example, our horses get Replenimash, they get equine senior, they get equiox. Some of them get percent if they have PPID. They get, soaked cubes, which takes time and money.
Real quick on the equiox. Our horses are not getting it regularly. They're not in a position where they're constantly in pain. And that's one of the things to look at when you look at a facility for lessons or whatever. That'll be a different video. But I just want to clarify that they get it when they need it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes their arthritis does flare up a little bit worse than other times, or it's extra cold, or they decide to run around like hooligans and tweak their leg.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you want to be at a facility where they charge enough to take care of their animals. And I will tell you that none of those things are cheap. You've got a bag of equine senior at $28 a bag. And, if you feed them appropriately with the equine senior and the cubes, it costs several $100s a month just to feed those two things. Our horses also get Himalayan salt blocks. They also get salt in their feed to supplement their sodium, magnesium, electrolytes balance. So you have that as well that goes into the cost of your lesson. You have specialized shoeing. And so we don't, for example, here, we don't go with the quote unquote cheap farrier. We go with the good farrier. So we have some horses that have glue-on shoes because they have arthritis in their coffin joints. They have, hock issues. And so glue-on shoes are not cheap. We do have some horses that are barefoot part of the year. We do have some horses that have shoes all the way around. A set of glue-on shoes is about $450 every 6 weeks. $450. So every 6 weeks, all the way down to the trims that are about $80. So your range there is anywhere from $80 to $450. And then you have your chiropractors, your massage therapists, all the things that really need to go into making this horse whole so that you can come in and enjoy your lesson. None of that is free. You have your veterinarian care. I mean, we have a lesson horse here that had to have major surgery at UC Davis. I could have bought a car. And as an instructor, I was put into a position where either I did the surgery and saved her life, or I wasn't going to be able to afford to. And I feel that so many places don't charge enough for those large expenses, like a colic stay. We had one that, she had to have her, ovary removed because she had the tumor on it. She was at UC Davis for almost 2 weeks. That is not cheap. And all of the other lesson horses were working and paying for that. She had almost a 6-month recovery as well.
Yeah.
So it's the time off too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, I have a horse that had to have squamous cell carcinoma removed. We had horses that had 2 colic stays this year.
And the carcinoma removal is a routine thing for him.
Right. It's going to be every year
Mm-hmm.
at about $1,000 a time, because the cancer is going to keep coming back and we're going to keep having it removed.
And so with that too, that does help factor into like planning for that. But it is a factor that like, okay, here's the cost of keeping this horse. And it's not, the cancer is not one that it's necessary to do the removal and everything, but it's not necessary to just do nothing about it and or to put the horse down or anything. It's not that extreme or that much of an issue for him. It's just where it's at, that it grows, it returns, needs to be removed every once in a while. But otherwise he's good to go.
Yeah. And then you have, the worming and vaccinations. And then you also have, for the horses that you think might be cushingoid, you have yearly checks on their blood work. And blood work isn't cheap. We all know that the cost of veterinary stuff is going up, and I understand that the vets don't have a choice. But that is something to where if you want to run a successful barn and you want to be able to take care of your horses, you have to factor that in. Mm-hmm. Another thing that we do here is, and not everybody does this, is we don't lease our lesson horses, as in we don't lease them from other people, and we keep them forever. So something else that for me I have to factor in to the price of the lessons is both the cost to buy them and the cost to retire them. Yeah. And some horses,
the end of life.
Yes, and the cost of end of life. So some horses can be here on their retirement plan, cashing in their 401k for 10 years. And yes, Max, yeah. And that's not cheap, Miha. Scooter. I mean, the list goes on. But you have to ask yourself, when you're choosing a place, do you want to be at a place that is the cheap route and maybe the horses don't look so great? Or a place that is charging enough to adequately care for them? Yeah. And then you also have the cost of the tack. Does the tack fit right? Is it a good quality girth? I mean, and one of the things I want you to think about too is all of these things, the cost of the facility, the footing, the tack, the people caring for the animals, all of those things are also factored into the price. Every single time you ride in an arena, you are grounding down the footing. Somebody has to come in, which is me because I'm the owner of the facility as well, and replace the footing. Every single time the tack is used, the footing is used, the horse is used, it is a cost. So by the end of it, the trainer doesn't really get that much.
And one of the things too that factor into the cost of lessons is the trainer, the person teaching you, and their experience, their ability.
Yes.
And it's not all the same. Somebody can have really good experience in riding, really good experience in all kinds of different things, but maybe not teach all that well.
Right.
Or they're a really great teacher and they have a handful of experience in different places. The more all around, depending on what you're looking for too, the better, right? If you want a more specific discipline and you want, the best level or highest level trainer, then you're going to look for that. But you're going to pay for that too. You're going to pay for the experience. You're going to pay for the knowledge and the time and effort and training. And with facilities like this that have other trainers, it's going to be a little bit different, on that knowledge, but it still factors into the overall price, the use of the horse, the use of the equipment, helmets, replacing helmets. That's another thing. If you're at a facility, they should have a decent array of options for helmets. You don't want to have just one or two sizes and then somebody's stuck with one that's too small or one that's too big. That's not going to protect you. But you also want the option of being able to cycle through them and then replace them as you need.
Yeah. So that is what goes into the cost of having a lesson. And let us know if you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments, and thank you so much for joining us.